Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm going to walk you through this weird, insane mental process that I'm going through right now. So earlier today, I was going through some old video stuff, for like statistics and footage reasons, and I noticed that there was this old video that I had posted unlisted and put on Facebook, maybe some years ago, and I decided to make it public because I kind of was not entirely sure why I made it unlisted in the first place. I just thought, I'll make that public in case somebody's interested or in case somebody's browsing through and they want to see it. It's this the install music for MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries 3DFX version. And I think it might have been a couple years ago, but I don't know when, because as soon as I hit publish, I didn't realize this is how YouTube worked because I'm pretty dumb. But apparently, okay, it publishes it today, changes the date to today, and then puts it right in the front of my feed and says, hey, everybody who's subscribed to me, check out this bullshit sound clip from an old video games installer file, not even the actual game, it's from the fucking installer. Here you go, that's content. Well, oops, apparently people started commenting on it, and I was like, oh, interesting that people are so aggressively checking my channel for new content that as soon as I published this, they saw it in my old videos and were like, oh, I'm gonna watch that and comment it. Nope, apparently it's top of the fucking feed now because I don't know how fucking YouTube works. That's cool. Anyways, so somebody pointed out that it was actually music. I'd thought that it was unique to that version of that game. So I had not heard that track before ever, and I thought it was only available on the 3DFX Mercenaries disc as an install track. And it's not even in the same format. Most MechWarrior games, they use Redbook audio, nice high-quality CD audio, and this track is mono, not stereo, and it's crazy compressed. It's lo-fi. It's just in a WAV file. So I kind of figured that it was like a leftover track that they just used for this installer. Well, it turns out that they actually did have the high-quality version of the track used at some point in the trilogy. As far as I can tell, it was only used in the titanium edition of Ghost Bear's Legacy, which I think would have come out after the 3DFX version of MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries. So they had this track on the cutting room floor, they compressed it down to use as an installer track for 3DFX Mercenaries, and then they reused it in its original quality format for the Titanium edition of Ghost Bear's Legacy. The weird thing about that is that you can't really get Titanium Ghost Bear's Legacy on its own, unless not through legal channels anyway, because it was only released as part of the Titanium Trilogy box set. So I never had the full Titanium Trilogy back in the day, and to this day, I actually have just the individual releases of MechWarrior 2 Titanium and Mercenaries Titanium. And Ghost Bear's Legacy kind of sucks ass to a straw anyway. The Titanium version is, even worse. You may recall from the review, enemy aircraft destroyed when you blow up a sub. Yeah, fucking quality piece of entertainment, that.
Enemy aircraft destroyed.
Anyways, so the other problem is that I guess I must have just never bothered to check or listen to it because what I remember from the Titanium editions is that MechWarrior 2 and Mercenaries, the Titanium soundtracks have been chopped down to about 1 minute and 10 seconds per track. And I think it's just for disk space reasons because each disc has to contain not only the Battle Pack edition, which is sort of a graphically improved, engine-improved version of the original DOS games, as well as the Titanium, which is the hardware-accelerated version. So the Titanium soundtracks were, at least in my mind, just a terrible idea because they were truncated versions of the songs, usually that they start to fade out right as they start to get good, which is pretty obnoxious. So I guess I'd never had reason to listen to the Titanium Ghost Bear's Legacy soundtrack. And of course, I guess I don't own a version of that just because it's so hard to find to this day. So I think I got a brief couple minutes of capture from it using a disk image. And DOSBox, disk images, CD audio don't play well together, and I guess what I'd never done is mounted the disc, pulled the Redbook audio off, just using like Windows Media Player or something, ripped the CD, and listened to it. Well, so I just did. I just ripped the original Ghost Bear's Legacy, and I ripped the Titanium edition to compare them. And the really fucking maddening thing about it is that Ghost Bear's Legacy soundtrack, which I'd probably, I think, pretty fairly dismissed, the original one, because a lot of it's just repeats from MechWarrior 2, and then the stuff that isn't repeats is really bland, kind of atonal, meandering music that, is a little bit atmospheric, kind of seems to match the Ghost Bears, or more accurately, maybe it matches the Smoke Jags, but not particularly good stuff. Okay, well, Titanium Edition, totally different set of music. Right? Still some repeats, some original stuff, and then a couple of things, including the installer music is actually the installer music from Titanium is on there as a real track, and the installer music from this 3DFX Mercenaries is on there as a real high quality track. But the names don't change, apparently, or it's just a fact that Windows Media Player, which is probably the only software that does this quite so aggressively, goes out to the internet, tries to fetch album data, and comes back with the wrong track listings because it assumes it's the same. It is the same soundtrack. So I am inclined to take those track titles more literally when they're on the original Ghost Bear's Legacy. It's really hard to say for sure. I have no idea what exactly it is that Windows Media Player is going out to fetch. So, you know, if we assume that, then we have to wonder, okay, what are the track names for these? And I don't think all the MechWarrior soundtracks even necessarily have track names. Some of them have multiple track names, which is always what's been so confusing about the MechWarrior 2 soundtrack, that a lot of them are not only named for the mission, they're just sort of named in general. And, of course, if they're used on multiple missions, then how do you know what to call them? So it's just a whole bizarre, incredibly complicated, weird, confusing, fun project that I've been involved in today while I was trying to actually do a bunch of other stuff. The other fun stuff that I was working on is as I was editing Revolution, I realized that a couple video files seemed to have gone missing. I don't know if they didn't transfer from one drive to another or something, like must have gotten fucked up, or the capture process did not work properly, but I was missing like about 45 minutes to an hour worth of the game that I actually needed because I reference it in the script. It's very illustrative. So I had to fucking play that game again, which I never wanted to do again.
Hey, Juana. Yeah, I'm a little tired indeed.
Okay, so let us take a look at these tracks here. This was a ridiculously complicated process, which is my own damn fault for being so obstinate and insisting on using Windows Media Player to rip these because I was too lazy to go find another piece of software to use. But the reason why that sucks, by the way, is because Windows Media Player is fucking insanely aggressive about upkeeping the library. So I put in the disk, my DOS version of the game, my DOS Pentium, DOS Win, I don't think it's even technically Windows, I think it is DOS only, put in that disk, rip it. So it rips it to a folder called Soundtrack because it thinks the contributing artist is Soundtrack, and it puts it in that folder, and I take it, I move it out, I put it in a different folder for sorting purposes, alright? Okay, take that disk out, I mount the Titanium Ghost Bear's Legacy disk image, rip that soundtrack. It's a different fucking soundtrack. None of the files are the same. They're different lengths. They have, I think, 3 less tracks in the Titanium version than is in the original version. Well, fucking Windows Media Player is like, oh, okay, where am I going to put this? Oh, hang on, wait a second. This should be called Soundtrack. This should be made by the artist Soundtrack, so it goes in the folder Soundtrack. Well, there's nothing in there, but oh, hang on. Let me go look for it. So fucking Windows Media Player goes and finds where the fuck you put it and overwrites it with the subsequent rip. Jesus Christ. It's like the smartest, stupidest thing that Windows has ever fucking done. So you know what I had to do? Okay, right? At some point, I'm not even sure how, I cleaned it up. I said I was going to start from scratch, and I ripped one disk. And then I went and checked the newly created folder that was not there before. The newly created folder, I had ripped it, and there were 2 copies of every fucking song in there. Why? I don't fucking know. It's Windows Media Player. I really should have used some other software, but I didn't. I'm dumb. I'm lazy. Okay, fuck it. Whatever. So, clean out the folder. Delete everything. Completely delete fucking everything. Then, rip the DOS-only soundtrack. Cut it. Paste it onto a flash drive. Disconnect the flash drive. Now, mount the Ghost Bear's Titanium soundtrack. Rip it. Close Windows Media Player so it doesn't see, so it doesn't know. Cut it, put it in on that flash drive. Now, I'm concerned that if I start Windows Media Player while this flash drive is corrected, it's going to go look in that folder and be like, oh, hang on, this isn't right. There shouldn't be 2 copies of this one soundtrack. I think I'll just merge them together. It's fucking, goddamn, fucking psychopathic piece of shit program. Anyways, that's not the point. That's far from the point. This is really dumb that I should be ranting about this. Anyways, let's just take a look. Comparing these 2 soundtracks. So we've got the DOS only on one side, the Titanium on the other side, and just looking them over, the obvious difference is that there are 3 additional soundtracks on the Ghost Bear's Legacy that are not on the Titanium disc. The original GBL disc, not on the Titanium disc. Okay, so 20 tracks on DOS version, 17 tracks on Titanium version. And the first 17 tracks on the DOS-only version are named, and all 17 tracks on the Titanium version are named. The last 3 tracks on the DOS version have just generic track titles. All 3 of those are songs from original MechWarrior 2. So if we just start from the top, you can see that the lengths are slightly different. The very first track, Kitty Kitty Here I Come, is on both, and it is approximately the same length, 2 minutes 6 on original, 2 minutes 7 on titanium, so no big difference there. They are the same track, by the way. Up next, you've got a track called Mech Dance, which is 4 minutes and 20 seconds, 420 blaze it, on the DOS version, 3 minutes 20 seconds on the titanium version. So that's where that titanium track truncation comes into play. They've shortened it, presumably for disk space purposes. The original soundtrack is something like 100 megabytes or something like that, and the titanium version of the soundtrack cuts it down to about 80. So, number 3 is a track called Ghost Bear 3. 3 minutes 43 seconds on DOS, 2 minutes 14 seconds on titanium. Here's where it gets kind of bizarre. So, track number 4, Searching Forever, 2 minutes 4 on DOS, 2 minutes 3 on titanium. You think, well, that's probably just anomalous. Some of them are about a second off each. Oh no. It's a different fucking track. Totally different fucking track on DOS and titanium. The DOS version honestly kind of sucks. Titanium version's a lot better. It has kind of like a Deus Ex soundtrack, UNATCO headquarters theme going on. I don't know. Sounds much more interesting. Number 5, Sneak Sneak, 2 minutes 3 on DOS, 2 minutes 3 titanium. Number 6, Morning Raid, 225 on DOS, 225 on titanium. Silent Predetor, Predetor. Yeah, they spelled it wrong. Whatever. 206 DOS, 208 titanium. Let's give them a listen. Those are the same. Number 8, One Chance Left, 203 DOS, 203 titanium. Same name, same track. Number 9, Mech Chant, 210 DOS, 210 titanium. Same song again. Number 10, here's where the whole thing goes to shit. Number 10 is called Underwater Run, and it is 216 on DOS, 221 on titanium. Doesn't seem like it could be too much of a difference, except on the DOS version, Underwater Run is just a repeat song from original MechWarrior 2. We go over to the titanium disc. Underwater Run has now morphed into the install track from the titanium edition of the game. Okay, that's a little weird. Number 11, Search and Destroy, 220 on DOS, 210 on titanium. The DOS version, Search and Destroy, is just a repeat from MechWarrior 2. It's a song we've heard before. And on Titanium, Search and Destroy, track number 11, is the MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries 3DFX version installer theme, but in full, stereo, high-quality Red Book audio. So fucking bizarre. Totally different song. Track number 12, Ghost Bear 12, 217 length on DOS, 204 length on Titanium. On DOS, it's another repeat from MechWarrior 2, which is like one of those reasons why I pretty much dismissed the soundtrack originally, because they're all repeats, but with weird new names. On Titanium, it's another new soundtrack. It's actually a pretty good song. It has to be a batch of songs that were re-recorded at some point or recorded by a different guy. I mean, they have a totally different vibe. That's why they give me that total, like, Deus Ex, maybe even like System Shock, Eric Brocious kind of feel. Totally different fucking music. Doesn't sound like Ji-Hoon Hwang, the guy who did the originals, at all. Number 13, OmniFun, 215 DOS, 150 Titanium. It's a repeat on DOS. And it's a repeat, but a different repeat on Titanium. What the fuck? Number 14, Jungle Jive. It is a minute 50 DOS, 2 minutes 15 Titanium. Jungle Jive on DOS is the same as number 13, OmniFun on Titanium. It's another MechWarrior 2 repeat that I guess I didn't use before. Whereas on Titanium, it's a totally different thing that sounds like a Jungle Jive, which is where the fucking track confusion starts getting really weird. But I'll get more into that in just a second. Number 15, Under the Sun, 222 on DOS. 143 on Titanium. DOS is another repeat. Titanium is also a repeat, but a different repeat. Number 16, Heated Blast, a minute 43 on DOS, a minute 44 Titanium. This is where, again, we're off by one because a Heated Blast, number 16, is the same track as number 15 Titanium, and it's another repeat. Whereas number 16 on the Titanium version is a different repeat. What the fuck? I don't know. God help us all. Number 17, Snoke Jag Scum, is 214 on DOS, and it's 112 on Titanium. And this is why I start to think that the Titanium track names are more accurate, because first of all, there's a track name for every track, which seems more accurate. Jungle Jive actually sounds like a jungle sound instead of just a repeated track from MechWarrior 2. And crucially, Snoke Jag Scum on the DOS version is just a repeat soundtrack from MechWarrior 2. the Titanium, number 17 is the entire audio complement, basically, the whole audio soundtrack piece that accompanies the intro cinematic.
Nothing on scope, Jag Base.
Anything on thermals, Jag 12?
Neg Base.
Aft, Jag 12. Said we.
And Snoke Jag Scum seems pretty appropriate because that's who features in the intro cinematic. So then we've got 3 more tacked on to the end of the DOS soundtrack. These don't have track names according to the track list that Windows Media Player is able to find from God knows where on the fucking internet. And clearly I can look at these and say that track number 20 is Snoke Jag Scum from the intro cinematic.
Nothing on scope, Jag Base.
Anything on thermals, Jag 12?
Track 18. And track 19 are just more repeats from MechWarrior 2. So, somehow, for some reason, Windows Media Player is finding what I'm reasonably sure is the Titanium track list. So I have no idea what the hell the fucking songs are supposed to be called on the DOS version. It probably doesn't matter because most of them are repeats anyway. Same with the Titanium version, but at least the Titanium version makes a little more sense. There is more original music on the Titanium version. This is why it's so unfortunate, because on the Titanium version, you lose about a solid minute of each of the new tracks, but you also gain some more of the actual original music from Ghost Bear's Legacy. And I have no idea what the hell could have happened to it or when this music could have been composed, right? Because that installer track from 3DFX version would have come out before Titanium Ghost Bears, or at least I'm pretty sure it would have based on what my understanding of the timeline. So it's so bizarre. And I know this matters to literally nobody but me, but it is really interesting that it's so hard to track this shit down, and the fact that there are all these weird little version differences that, you may never know. So the irony being that I've played the shit out of MechWarrior and listened to the soundtrack a bajillion times, and I'd never heard most of this original music that's only on the Titanium Edition soundtrack. So it's kind of fun. Somebody posted on the YouTube video, hey, I recognize this from Ghost Bear's Legacy, and I was like, that's crazy. I've never heard this before on Ghost Bear's Legacy. Well, it turns out I was listening to this weird-ass gimped version of the soundtrack that for some weird reason was the version pressed to the original DOS disc. And unfortunately, now this makes me want to pick up, a DOS Win version or a Pentium edition or something, or Battle Pack edition, just try to get those and see what the hell is different about them, because the Titanium soundtrack is, aside from missing several minutes of music, has more original tracks, seems to be more complete, seems to be more appropriate. So, God, I don't even know what to tell you. It's just weird. I don't know why I spent an hour and a half, about 2 hours. Oh God, too much time. I've spent way too much time doing this, ranting about this, raving about this. The moral of the story is MechWarrior 2 fucking rules. MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries fucking rules. The Titanium trilogy fucking blows. Ghost Bear's Legacy pretty fucking boring. Especially that stupid underwater mission and the fucking ejecting through the roof and the fucking enemy aircraft destroyed subs. I guess there is no moral to this story. The moral of the story, oh, there we go. The moral of the story is do something worthwhile with your time. Don't be like me. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. See you later.